Hello, everybody. My name is Jen, and I am one of the co-founders of Altenew, and you are here to have fun with our crafty creative challenges. So this is Creative Challenges with Jen, and I'm so happy to see you here. We have Xiomara, we have Susan, we have Kim, Nancy, a whole bunch of wonderful friends who are joining us today. And Angel is there behind the Altenew badge today. So definitely give her a big, nice, warm hello. And I'm excited to get crafting with you guys today. And we have a really fun challenge in store. Now, if you're new to our live that is hosted by me, and yes, I have a Starbucks right now. My husband just came back and he was like out running errands, and on his way home, he's like, do you want something? I'm like, yeah, get me a matcha. And I haven't finished it yet. But what I'm sure I'm not the only one who's enjoying a warm beverage right now. So yes, we are doing creative challenges, and this is a weekly live that I host, and it is all about just getting crafty in your space and really enjoying yourself and pushing your creativity to places that maybe you wouldn't normally take it. So I always try to give the disclaimer that these are challenges for me too. I am the person who is choosing the challenges, but no, I do not choose things with projects in mind. I do not choose them with any rhyme or reason as far as things that I want to create. I am just picking some fun sounding things, and I'm really putting it together last minute so that I get to experience that creative push and get me maybe out of a crafting rut, especially if I haven't crafted. And you guys, I have not crafted since last week's session. I know, that's crazy. I have not made anything in a week. So I am needing today's crafty sesh big time. And I would love for anyone out there to play along. Also, if you want a chance to get in on the fun, we have a couple ways that you can win a $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. And one of those ways is by sharing this video while we're live. That's an easy one. You can do it right now. Go ahead and share. Some of us already did. I see Sue already shared. A few others. I also see that Sue loves Starbucks chai tea latte. So yeah, this is a matcha latte, and I like it hot and I like it iced, but today I was feeling like I needed a warm, comforting drink. And Rebecca said, I just ran out of time for this week's challenge, but she'll try it next week. Been writing essays for law. Oh my gosh. Well, best of luck to you as you pursue that. That's exciting. Or I don't really know much about law. Are you like trying to get into law? Are you already into law and you need to write essays? I don't know, but best of luck to you, Rebecca, and what you're working on. I know what it's like to have other responsibilities that get in the way of crafting sometimes. And we do have a winner to announce from last week's challenge. So I want to make sure I get to that soon so that we can then hop into today's challenge and have some fun with that. So the last challenge was ABC of crafting. And the theme there was to pick a letter of the alphabet and create a project that incorporates that letter in as many ways as you can. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch. I tried to do it as much as possible, and I created a card inspired by the letter L. I also did some ink blending, which I did finish. So this was my L card from last week. Just a simple, pretty much one layer. This is a piece of cardstock, and yes, I have some embellishments, but these were all L colored inks, and I use an L stamp set. And actually two L stamp sets, and I used L embellishments. I can't think of my words right now. And if you want to check that out, see last week's video so that you can get inspired, hopefully, by a letter of the alphabet. And then I had started ink blending, and then we ran out of time. So I did finish that. And now I have this great panel that is ready for a sentiment to be turned into a card and sent out to somebody. So it's really exciting. And Susan says, what is matcha like? I've never had it. So if you've never had it, I would say maybe try a sweetened matcha. So Starbucks is an example just because most people have Starbucks. I also have some really amazing like independent coffee places that I go locally. But as far as Starbucks is concerned, you can like choose your sweetness level. And I always get like no added sugar or just like one pump of the syrup. But if you do that, if it's like low sugar, then it definitely tastes a little bit like earthy. Maybe, I don't want to say bitter, but like just kind of like earthier feel to it. If it's your first time you've ever had it, maybe if you don't mind sweet beverages, try it a little sweeter first to see if you're into the flavor profile, and then you can assess whether or not you like it. But it's hard to describe. It's not really like tea. Like people say, oh, is it like green tea? I don't think it tastes anything like green tea, especially when I have it as a latte, because that includes milk. And when I drink green tea, I don't put anything in it at all. We are on a tangent already. You guys know. When you come to my creative challenges, we go on tangents. All right, so back to that winner selection, and just give me a moment so I can share my screen. I'm excited to announce who the winner is from our ABC of crafting. And it's not allowing me to open it. Okay, I might need to just share my whole screen. That should be fine. Okay. You might see this live stream for a second. Here we go. Our challenge winner is Liz Ortiz. And this is the project that Liz created. Can you guess what her letter was? I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it while we marvel in the beauty of this project. It might not stand out to you right away. To be honest, I actually had to read the post to know how this letter was incorporated. But then once I read it, it made total sense. So we had a random rainbow, and we had raindrops. And I thought it was cool, the concept of a random rainbow. So what Liz did was she went into her craft area where she stores her ink and literally randomly took out some ink colors and blended them together to create that rainbow. And then the raindrops are water splatter. So I did like that concept of a randomness. That would be a fun challenge, wouldn't it? If we can create some kind of randomness in our crafting and maybe say like, hey, whatever's on your table right now, or open a drawer and use what's in it. So yes, Carrie says G is the letter. No, so she went with R. That was a good guess though. Oh, she says that must have been another entry. Yeah, I think a couple of you entered more than once, and I love seeing that too, because you get to play more than one time and the inspiration continues. So congrats again to Liz. So please go ahead and email us at winner@altenew.com and we will hook you up with your $15 gift certificate. And we will have another one coming to someone next week. So hopefully you guys have a chance to play with today's prompt. And I tried to dress to be inspired by today's prompt. So we have Hugh had me at hello, and not you, Hugh, H-U-E. Hugh had me at hello. And that is a color hello challenge. So I am going to be creating a monochromatic monochromatic card. And can you guess what my color is? Ignore this, take this off. Okay, can you guess what my color is that I'm using today? I also had a lipstick to match. Yeah, but I didn't put it on because I'm still drinking my matcha. So yeah, no lipstick, but you could imagine. So there it is. What is my color? My color is pink. And yes, Christine got it. Thank you. And Angel got it behind the Altenew badge. Pink. Yes, I am going with pink. And I've got a little funny story about that because I've got a story about everything, and then we'll jump into the project. So I was a bit of a tomboy growing up. I wore hand-me-down clothes from my brothers, and I was into all the things that my brothers were in. I looked up to them. Even my younger brother, I looked up to him, and I wanted to be like them. So I was into things that were traditionally, now again, I'm going to add this disclaimer because obviously there is no like gender to colors. There's no gender to any like specific clothing items or toys or whatever. But I was into things that were more traditionally thought of as like boy toys. I had a lot of action figures. I wore, again, like big baggy clothes. And this was all throughout elementary school, middle school, and most of high school. And it wasn't until after high school, like in college, when I kind of, I don't know, just started being more feminine for whatever reason. I don't know. People change, evolve. But in my yearbook in elementary school, it said, "What is your favorite color?" And I had black, black, and black. Somehow I felt like I had to add 3 colors and they had to be the same color. And black really isn't a color. So yeah, black, black, and black. And my least favorite color of all time for most of my life, pink. So now I have pink hair like all the time. So, you know, people change, but I thought it would be funny to share that story and to have pink be my color. So that is what I am going with this week. I hope you guys come up with a great color to be the foundation of your project. Again, it doesn't have to be a card. It could be anything using paper crafting supplies. It doesn't have to be Altenew. So if you're new to Altenew and you don't have any supplies from Altenew, or you don't have many, use what you have. And with a color challenge, if you have a lot of a certain type of ink or paper, go with that. It doesn't have to be like your favorite color, just a color that is going to take you to fun, creative heights. All right, so let's pop you down. I've already made a mess on my craft desk and we haven't even started, but I was just pulling pink stuff and seeing what I had to work with. Obviously, I've got a lot of Altenew products in various colors. And since I'm doing pink, I was trying to think of like what types of pink. We do have a lot of different types of pink products. And I really like the cherry blossom set. So I grabbed my cherry blossom fresh dye ink. So we have pink diamond, pinkalicious. Tracy says, I thought it was going to be matcha. Oh, you're right. I really could have embodied it if I picked a color of my drink. So if I was green, you guys know, or maybe you don't, but I think I'd mention it a lot, is that the tropical forest are like my favorite ink colors that we have. And those are the ones with parrot, moss, bamboo, and olive. I really love that. So that could have gone with matcha. Maybe I could have gotten, there's like a pink thing at Starbucks, right? I think it's just called the pink drink. I don't really know. And I'm seeing hello from crafters from British Columbia, Rocky Mountains on this beautiful sunny day. That is so nice. I'm glad you have a sunny day. Here in New England, it has been rainy and overcast. And rubellite. Sorry, these were a little out of order. Rubellite and then raspberry. So these are my inks I pulled. I also grabbed some of the Crafty Necessity cardstock. I got Pink Diamond, Pinkalicious, and Rubellite. I also grabbed some envelopes, Rubellite, Raspberry, and Pink Diamond. I know I don't need this now, but I thought, you know, when I send it, it'd be fun to send a monochromatic card in an envelope to match. And I took out some pink tourmaline gem sparkles. Oh, I also took out some dies I was inspired to use. You guys know I love die cutting. I love stamping. I love ink blending. But die cutting might be my favorite, especially craft a flower. And again, like I said before with colors, people change. So this might not always be my favorite to do die layering, but currently I do obsess over our craft a flower and other layering dies. I could not find my cherry blossom enamel dots, but the bubblegum dream seemed pretty close. I also have the shimmery mauve glitter tape, and I have some pink brilliance glitter cardstock. Not sure what I'm going to use, but here's what I've got for now. And I'm thinking it'll be nice to do some ink blending onto our dies to create, you know, nice depth, kind of like what we have on the example here. So let's get started. I'm really excited to do this. All right, let me pull my die cut machine from the shelf behind me because I will need that too. Okay, so that's my mini blossom die cut machine. And I do have my plates. We've got an A plate and a B plate. Okay, and then I also have, if needed, off to the side, I have my metal shim. So this has been through a lot. You can see it's kind of bent. That does not change the effectiveness of the metal shim. This just helps add additional pressure if necessary. Also, I'm seeing I love it more now that we have the keyhole system. Yes, that is correct. The keyhole system makes it accessible for everybody. And I have to tell you, I have not created with this die set yet. So I will be doing this for the first time right now, but I'm not too worried about it. Normally someone would say, I don't want to do something new live in front of who knows how many audience members, but I am confident in the keyhole system that it's going to be easy to do. All right, so I will start with, I think, the lightest, the pink diamond cardstock. And the reason why I'm going to start with this is, like I said, I want to do some ink blending with some of our inks to add depth to the petals. And I think just starting with the lightest would be a great place to begin. And then I can also do another color for the second flower. So this is a great way to stretch your supplies, because if I wanted to use like the same ink color, for example, if I wanted to use the raspberry ink to deepen the Pinkalicious cardstock, I could also use that same ink to deepen the pink diamond. And you're going to get a slightly different look because you're starting on a different shade, a different intensity of the same type of color. So there's a lot that you can do when you're creating monochromatic looks and really fun techniques. And the reason why I took out some glitter and some enamel dots and some gem sparkles is because things like reflectiveness, how reflective it is, like we have very reflective gem sparkles, that's going to add interest to a solid color design, as is any depth. So with the enamel dots, that's going to add, again, a little bit of shine, a little bit of some change in elevation on my project, and that's just going to keep it from being boring. Also, white and black are a-okay. So when you're creating your project, you can have a white card base. You could stamp in black ink. You can use black sentiment, anything that you want. And since it's Hugh had me at hello, we are also going to be using hello as our greeting on our card. If you don't have a hello stamp or die, get out a pen or marker and write the word hello. But the challenge is going to be make a monochromatic hello card. Okay. So let's pull out some dies that we'll need. If you look over here at our layering guide, and also you can see on the front, we have these two different flowers. So one's kind of blooming more open and one is blooming more from the side. And I think I want the darker to be the smaller one and the lighter one to be this bigger bloom. So what I'll do is look on the back. I see the larger of the two blooms. And again, I know this is kind of small, but you can download any of our layering guides on the website so you can blow it up to whatever size you need. I know that sometimes it's a little hard to see because we try to squeeze as much as we can onto the packaging. So I'm going to be using the one with a little arrow. Again, you may not see that there, but there is an arrow, and the other arrangement has a keyhole. So if I look at my dies, this one has an arrow, so I'll be needing that one. Okay, so that's just adhered on there with some double-sided tape, so I could just pop that off. This one has an arrow as well. And you can see I've got an etched number. This one has an etched number 1. This one has an etched number 2. And as you die cut these, that's going to get imprinted into your cardstock, and it will get covered up. So you will not see these. You won't see the keyhole. You won't see the arrows, but you will use them as guides as you create. And then the last layer on top will cover up those numbers and cover up the keyhole and arrow shapes. So it's really a clever way to help as you're creating, and it's just made the game so much easier and so much more accessible, especially to newbie crafters. Because if I had never crafted before and I took a look at a project that had an intricately layered flower like this and all these pieces that I don't understand, I might be a little intimidated. And I really love how you're not really intimidated when you have numbers and shapes to help you along. Okay, so I believe I've got all of them here. Okay, and then I'm just going to run these through my die cut machine. Now, since I'm using my mini blossom today, I will need to do a few passes on my cardstock. For some reason, when we're live, I just cannot figure out how to use one of the larger machines that I have because it's, you can't get it into the frame. So I'm either like die cutting off camera and being like, hey guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to go do some die cutting, which I think is weird because then you're just staring at nothing on my craft desk. Or I try to lug like a big machine up on. So that's why I'm so glad that we have the mini blossom, because it just really helps out while I'm filming. So just a fun little tidbit for you guys if you do any filming to have a smaller die cut machine like the mini blossom. It's just really an invaluable tool. And I'm just using some satin masking tape to adhere these down. And I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Avi Renee or Avi Renee Card Designs. Oh, Avi or Avi says, hey y'all. So hello, thank you for joining us. We are doing a fun monochromatic challenge today. And I am using my pink products that I'm so fond of, even though it used to be my least favorite color. While I'm getting these set up, I would love to see and read about what your favorite color is. So anyone who would like to pop that into the comments, please do. I feel like it's a little puzzle right now, just trying to figure out where to put all of these. I want to maximize my space to minimize waste. Okay, I think this is all we're going to get on this piece. And then I will run through for the other one and we'll do some fun ink blending. Maybe or baby. Avi, got it. Thank you so much. That helps a lot. Avi, welcome. So glad you're here. All right, so let me try this first without the shim. These aren't terribly detailed, so I don't think I'll need the shim, but you never know. It's always good to have just in case you need that little bit of additional pressure as you die cut. But we'll see how this did. Yeah, it looks like we went clean through. Okay, I am going to pop these onto my sticky mat. I told you I made a mess before I even started, and now I'm thinking like, where am I going to put all this stuff, and where am I going to keep my matcha? Because that's important. Okay. Oh no, I could have used the shim. We're okay, but I could have had a little bit of added pressure with the shim, but I think it's all right. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I will run this through actually one more time with the shim because I did not get my numbers imprinted, and I just told you how great the numbering system is. So I do not want to leave you without those numbers. So let's do this one more time, but with the shim. Don't want to lose that little piece right there. Okay. And like I said, the shim is just this piece of metal right here. I just stick it on top. I know some people sandwich it in, but I think it's easier to get it started into the die cut machine if I just have it on top. And now there will be more pressure as you crank this through. But like I said, that additional pressure is what's going to help imprint the cardstock. And don't worry if you get a little warping of your plate. It does not change how it works. Okay, so now I can absolutely see those numbers. Can you? There's a number 1 right here. Okay, so I'll stick this down. And as I had step them onto my mat, I'm just going to keep them in number order. And the reason for that is I know that 1 is the base of the flower, the lowest part. So that's the part that would likely have the most shading. And then as the pieces go higher in sequential number, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's higher up on the project. And that is the case with like 99% of our layering dies. 1 is at the very bottom. There are some circumstances where it might be different due to how they needed to layer in order to create the project. It's hard to describe, but always check the layering guide first. Don't just make an assumption and say, oh yeah, one's always the one on the bottom. One's always the first one that you need to use, but it's not necessarily always the lowest element. But again, 99% of the time it is. Okay, so in this case it is. So I've got them in numerical order. And I'm just going to pop out this little piece that I don't want to lose. And this is part of number 1. So I'll pop that here. Yes, this is the gardenia. And if they ever get stuck like this, there are holes in the back and you can just pop them out like that. We have number 5. I have number 6. And then over here, we have 3 and 4. So these are the last 2 I need to do. I will grab the same pink diamond cardstock. I love these sets because they come with so many sheets. And this size is sized for the mini blossom. So if you ever wonder, like, what is with this size? It seems random. It is not. These are for the mini blossom die cut machine. So if you have our die cut machine, please take advantage of these cardstock packs because I find it a lot easier than taking the 8.5 by 11 and trimming it down myself, just knowing that it's already cut to size. And then we have the glitter cardstock as well in the same size. All right, let me just reuse this tape. And I don't know if I saw any favorite colors placed in here. It's so hard when I'm creating to try to read the comments at the same time. I see misty blue. I love pink as well. Question, does the metal shim come with the mini blossom? Do you have to buy it separate? It is a separate purchase because it's not required to use it while you're die cutting, especially if your machine is new. But what happens is naturally over time, as you do it, you might lose a little of that pressure because there's like the 2 rollers in there. And the shim helps with this. So we've had the mini blossom for like, I don't know how many years, like 8 or 9 or something. And this was my very first mini blossom. I never changed it. It still works perfectly this many years later. But I find that the shim does help me when I have details that I want impressed into the cardstock, which is the case with these because I have these debossed vein lines and then I have the debossed numbers. So any die that has a debossed detail or any extremely intricate die, so a word die, I would recommend using a shim for those. But yeah, it does not come with it. So if you would like to purchase that, make sure you check out the listing for the metal shim. There might be a bundle. I'm not positive. Our bundles are always changing and getting updated. So I can't say for sure if we have a bundle that includes the shim, but we might. So maybe Angel can check on that while I send this one through. Okay. Oops. All right, I'm reading some more comments. Finally organized to be here for a live. That's great, Sarah. We're happy to have you. Flying things over here, left and right. Okay. Now that I have all of my pieces cut, I'm excited to start my ink blending. So we have number 3 right here. This is number 4. And you don't want to lose these itty bitty pieces because they are part of the petals that are folded over. So you'll see when I assemble it that these ones make it look like the petal is folded over. Okay, put those there. And put my perfect picker back so I don't lose it because you guys, this is a mess already and I'm likely to lose things. Put the embellishments aside. You guys know where I'm putting the embellishments? On my computer, because that's where I stash things during the live that I don't want to lose. All right, let's just grab a mini blending brush, my absolute favorite. But the Smaller sizes of blending brush might also come in handy. So this one is size 10 of the micro blending brushes. So I'm going to hang on to this too, because I might want that for some of these really teeny tiny pieces. Christine says, I love my mini blossom, even took it on a cruise with me and did crafting on sea days. I've always wondered what that's like, those crafting at sea. Sounds like so much fun. All right, let me start with Rubellite. And again, number one is going to be hopefully the darkest, because that is going to be the petals that are furthest or are closest to the bottom, right? That have the most shadow. And you can see how using that pink cardstock gives me like a head start. I don't have to do the whole entire thing. I can just ink blend the center radiating outwards. And what's nice about the ink blending is the veins or any debossed area, they really get highlighted beautifully when you're ink blending. And I'm going to add just a bit more here and then move on to the next layer. Sorry, this whole thing is shaking around here. Let me see if I could fix that. My camera stand is touching my table, and when I ink blend, the whole table shakes. Right, let me pull this towards the center so you could see what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, love that. And now going into number two, I'm not going to ink blend on that little piece. I might actually even look and see where it is on here. Okay, so this is that little piece right here. You could barely see it. But this is going to go on top of this petal to look like it's folded towards us. So with that in mind, I'm actually going to add a little bit more to this petal. This one's going to be pretty dark, just so I have a nice difference in tone when I add this on top. Okay, now let's continue on. Just blending outwards, but again, this one's not going to be as dark as the others. I just love using this sticky mat now, because in the past you'd have to like hold on to your die while it's like shifting away from you on your table. Or I used to take like some tacky, like gooey stuff, and I would put that under my die cut while I ink blended with them. Or there was also a time that I would use repositionable adhesive. I like this, just makes it so much easier. Carrie says, Jen, sticky mat looks so clean. Mine are all stained. Well, I was showing you guys my stained sticky mat that's in my stamp wheel last week, because that one's seen better days. But yeah, this one hasn't been stained yet. However, it is newer. So it really hasn't had its chance to get to get messed up yet. You can tell how well loved a sticky mat is based on its color. This one's a newbie. Okay, so that's good for this one. I don't need to blend more. Questioning whether I want to go into maybe Pinkalicious for the last two with that smaller blending brush, just so that it's a little bit lighter up top, so I have a lot of variation. Okay. And then once again, I'm going to look at where I have those extra pieces here. So they're also going to give the illusion that the petals are curled up, but I want to keep that fairly light. So I think I'm going to keep those unblended. And now I will do the last two pieces here using this blending brush. I'm realizing I forgot one of my pieces here. Did I don't know. We'll find out when I adhere it. I may have forgotten to die cut one of my pieces, and that's fine. We'll just add it later on. Okay, so Pinkalicious. Okay, and then just a smidgen here. Just a tad. Okay. All right, let's start adhering these together and see how our ink blending looks. I'm reading comments. Christine says, I'm hoping Altenew takes it as a product suggestion and creates an official one. An official what? I think I missed someone else's comment, and I missed what official one you are talking about. Okay, so let's go with layer 1. And maybe now that it's ink blended, you can see. No, I think it's actually harder to see now. So we do have that on there. All right, number 1, number 2. Now, before I do that, I just don't want to forget about this little itty bitty piece right here, that little guy. So I'm just going to place just the tiniest bit of adhesive from my glue tape. Replying to Tammy Kirk. That's great, Tammy. Be sure to post. Yes. Oh, yeah. If you use hashtag Altenew Happy Mail, you're correct. Please pay attention to all of our promotions and contests and hashtags, because there's a lot of ways that you can win various prizes. All right, here's one. Now I will add just a bit. I'm starting to run out of my glue tape here. Let's see. All right, now number 2 just fits right on top. And you can see now, there we go. You can see now how these are going to just really show up when you have the darker blending on the bottom and then the lighter blending on top. I am going to adhere a little bit, or put a little bit of liquid glue behind, just so that I have a better grip, because my glue tape is kind of on its last limbs over here, so it's not putting down a lot of adhesive. So I'm just going to use liquid glue instead. All right, number 3, placing that on the back, lining it up. So cute. Number 4. And then the last pieces, I don't want to lose those little tiny guys. 5. And I don't adhere the pieces down completely, because I like that when the glue is dry, you can go back and kind of curl up the petals just to add a little bit more depth and dimension. I think I got a little too heavy-handed. I got so excited about adding shadow behind that little piece that we are very dark right there. That's okay. Not a big deal. Maybe we'll cover it up with the other flower. Yes, Tammy, the keyhole does make it super simple to put together. Now I want to consult my guide and get the other pieces here, just so that they are in position. So this one will go here, and this one will go here. And I am missing one more piece, so let's see if I can locate that. Now, the other thing that you could do if you want even more dimension is pick 1 or 2 of the layers and use foam tape. So that could really make it pop additionally if you wanted to. right over here. Lovely. Okay, now let's find that last little piece. Where'd you go? Here it is. It's tucked away next to a leaf. Okay, so we're going to run this through, and then that will complete our first gardenia. This is the gardenia crafty flower. For anybody who's just popping in now, please make sure to share this video while we're live if you want a chance to win a $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. As well, you can win for playing along and creating something that's inspired by today's project. So today's is Hugh had me at hello, which is going to be a hello project. Doesn't have to be a card, but something that features the word hello and one color. So a monochromatic color. I don't think I need this for this last piece because it doesn't have any debossing. If you don't have a hello stamp or a hello die, like I said earlier, you definitely can handwrite the word hello on your project. We probably have markers or pens or something that you can use for that. And let's see, do I want to keep this piece naked without ink blending? Now I'm going to add a little bit, just a little bit of ink blending at the bottom with whatever is left over on my brush. There's nothing left over on that brush. Okay, let's see what's left over on this brush. There we go. Okay. Liz says this is a beautiful set, the low profile foam tape. Yeah, definitely take advantage of the different depths of foam tape that we have, because the low profile won't make your card too bulky that it won't fit into an envelope. Now this last piece that I put down, it covered up the shapes that we had. So we had the little tiny arrow on this one, and it just got covered up with that last piece. It also covered up the numbering system. So everything is neatly tidied away and no one would know that you used that. Oh man, that one petal, that's killer right there, you guys. That's really getting me. But we will do the next flower and we will choose a clever arrangement to hide that little oopsie right there. Like I said, I just got too heavy-handed, too excited. All right, let's put away these dies because I know I'm just going to continue to make a big old mess here. And I will also peel off the ones that I need for my second flower. So these ones feature the keyhole. So we'll place that one there. I'll leave the leaves, Yes, I will let the leaves remain right here. Oops. Because I will be probably cutting those from white. I haven't completely decided, but most likely from white. And now let's put these ones away. We'll keep our satin masking tape because this can all be reused again. Don't want to be wasteful. And I'll just plop all of these back. And again, I don't want to forget this one, this little guy. He's likely to get lost if you don't pay attention. All right, now let's consult the layering guide once more. And very straightforward here. We do have a couple of petals that are going to not have that number on them. So you just want to make sure you're paying attention to where those go. And instead of using the pink diamond cardstock, I will run this through with the Pinkalicious. And we'll see the difference in how our flowers look. These are all from the same color family, so I know they're going to look great together, but this will just give us a bit of a deeper look to our flower. Okay. You guys, this might be another no finish day. You know I am the queen of not finishing my projects. All right, so you can see here, it's just a bit deeper, right? So this is going to give us a slightly darker tone as our starting point. And I will add more ink blending just to give that variety, but we're getting a head start by using a piece of colored cardstock, so I don't have to ink the entirety of these petals. All right, set this aside on my computer. Let's not lose it. So much over here, such a mess. And then here are all my little dies. And I think I should be able to fit these on one piece. Let's see. Put that there. Put that there. I went back and I read the comments from last week's video of my special visitor who came. So my son, Logan, who's just over 12 months old, he made us a very short little appearance. And you guys are so sweet. You said the nicest things about him. So thank you so much to anybody who left a comment last week regarding my son, Logan, who, of course, is taking his nap once again during our live. Okay, so let's grab the shim, set my brushes aside. I'm going to use these same brushes, even though I plan on using the raspberry ink. I tend to just keep using the same color, even if it's like a different tone, but like if it's the same color family, like this is a pink brush. So I'm happy using pink. If you wanted to, you can definitely have a separate brush for every color. I know people who do. They are people who are far more organized than I am. Okay, let's send this sandwich through. And yeah, I think we're a lot less shaky now that I moved my tripod. So sorry about that earlier, all that shakiness. Oh, that sound, by the way, are the suction cups. There are suction cups on the Mini Blossom, which help keep it stabilized while you're running it through. Okay. Now, once again, I'm going to place these in order so that I can keep myself organized, and I don't want to lose these little tiny guys. So I'll set that aside. There's also another one here that's not labeled. All right, here is number 2. And here's number 1. And let me bring back the perfect picker just so I can pop these out more easily. Okay. Number 3. And you can also see very well the keyhole shape that's on this one. So the other one had an arrow. Here we have a keyhole. And I don't want to forget this one. And the reason why, by the way, that these are on one die is because they are adhered together. So this piece will go on top. Now look, if I place these here and I don't have the ink blending, look at how much you're missing that detail. Like you almost can't even see it, right? So that's where the ink blending really helps, or choosing a different color cardstock. So I've done these layered dies, especially again, the crafty flower. I've done them with different solid color cardstock. So if you don't want to use your ink blending, you can just use different solid colors. So that's absolutely fine. But you might want to do something just to add that little bit of oomph so you can see the definition in each of the different flower petals. I'm looking at the time, you guys, and I don't know how I dilly-dallied so much that we are not even done with the second. Guys, I took out all of these like glitter stuff and enamel dots, and I'm not even close to being finished. But that does bring me to my next point, is that you don't have to have a finished project in order to enter. The creative challenges with Jen is different than many other challenges because you can submit a work in progress and still get selected as the winner. Last week's winner was a work in progress. I think it was last week, or was it the week before? The project that was chosen was not finished on time. Now, that person did end up finishing it, but even so, completely not finished, work in progress, never finished. You might never finish it and you can still win. So don't feel like you can't enter because you didn't have as much time as you wanted to create. Any amount of time spent creating is valuable. So please, please enter if you even start a project. I see a lot of you guys talking about the new release. The new release is super exciting. We really love all of the products that we release every month, but I do feel like the last two releases, the May and the April, have just been like phenomenal. It was so much fun to play with those products. All right, so this is the darker raspberry ink, and you're going to see how deep this looks once I put it on here. So bringing back my mini blending brush, and look at that richness of color. Oh, it's so beautiful. How did I hate pink, you guys? How am I the same person that hated pink? And I just look at this and I get so excited. Now, again, comparing it to our first flower that we created, you can see that it's just like the same colors, but a darker version. That's why I love the color families. That's why I love the coordinating products that come in multiple colors, how we have the inks that match everything. I even considered maybe grabbing some liquid watercolor in these same colors, like the cherry blossom colors, because it's just all coordinated and it makes it so easy when you're crafting to select your colors and you know they're going to go together. Now, I know I already explained this, but for anyone just hopping in, I am also going to do a little bit less ink blending on each subsequent piece because I want it to look the darkest at the bottom and be a little bit lighter where the sunlight or the light would naturally hit it. Here's number 3, starting in the center. Now let's hope I don't get too heavy-handed here, but I'm going to add some shadow behind where this piece is going. And let's just be really delicate. Just a bit like that. Okay, hopefully that's better. I'm going to add a little bit at the bottom of this too. Number 4 has 2 cutouts. So I'll go over that. Oh, add a little bit more ink there than I wanted to. I'll go over this when we get there, how the 2 cutouts work. But again, it's just stacking similar cutouts, like the same piece over. It really does kind of work itself out. It does it on its own. Just a little bit of blending here, just a little bit of blending here, just a little bit there. All right, I am happy with that. And now we will get to, once again, adhere these together. And since my ink is still a little bit wet and my glue tape is kind of dying, I will once again use liquid glue just to put these together. But you can use any type of adhesive that you would like. And I'm putting it around just like this, right around that keyhole shape, and lining up piece number 2. And you just place them together. Now, if you're a little bit off, like don't spend forever. If I was just slightly askew, it's still going to look great because these are flowers. There's no precision needed when it comes to nature. We do have other sets where I think it would be more important to be accurate in your layering. But honestly, for flowers, it does not need to be perfect. Placing the next petal down here. One thing I love, and I feel like JC does this a lot, is after he has these beautiful inked flowers, he goes back with some pure white ink spray and just splatters it all over. So these flowers get like just a cool highlight of white speckles, and it looks so good. And I've actually never done it. And I'm always so scared to ruin the flowers that I worked hard layering up. Like, let's say you mess up and you have like a huge splotch of white that just goes somewhere that you don't want it. I'm sure he's just perfected that, so he's not too worried about it, but I think I shall try it one day. I'm not going to try it here though, because I'm trying to keep my colors all pink. But again, you can use white and black if you choose to play along with us. Don't feel like you're completely limited to one color, but don't add any additional colors from the rainbow. if that makes sense. So black and white are neutrals. That's fine. Okay, so here we have the second shape. So I have the keyhole here, and then here's like a little plus sign. Okay, now that is going to coordinate with the little plus sign in this next piece. So you're still just stacking them, lining up the holes. Guys, I have 4 minutes. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to take a little bit of extra time just so that I can feel like I accomplished a little more than this. We'll like do a little plan. We'll plan the card and see how all the elements will kind of go together, because I do want to incorporate the glitter in some way. So we'll kind of workshop that. And then next week, I'll show you the finished card. All right, now I'm going to look at my layering guide and see where these last little pieces are going to go. So this one is going to cover up that indented 5 and also that plus sign cut out. So placing a little bit of glue there and covering that with this petal. And then lastly, we have this itty bitty piece, and that's going to go right up there, just to give the look of a folded petal. Okay. And there it goes. This looks so cute. Now, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover my overly excited ink blended petal with this one, so no one will know. All right, that's how we hide our mistakes around here. All right, I'm just going to give my sticky mat a quick wipe down. And set this aside. Yeah, the perfect picker does work for the tiny pieces. You are absolutely correct. And I have it literally right here, but wasn't thinking, you know? Okay, I have these pieces. Let me set this aside. Let's take out our glitter and our other pieces. Also, I wanted to incorporate this ornate nesting die set. So let's think about how this project might come together. So with our 2 flowers, I think it'd be beautiful if I cut a window using one of these ornate dies. So if the card panel had a window cut out like this, and then if I arrange my flowers, now this has to be a hello card. So I did think about some hello sentiments, and I'm not sure. I wasn't sure which one would go with the vibe, you know? So we've got a stack here. We've got hello from the dynamic duo Playful Watercolor Flowers. This is from the stamp set. That would look beautiful. I like that. Delicate. All right, we have this hello. This one is from the Exotic Tuberoses. This was one of our Build-A-Gardens. And I feel like this is a little bit too large for that window cutout. Now, this is going to act as like a frame, right? So I hope you can see what I envision. Please come back for the dramatic conclusion next week when you get to see the card. But it's going to be a window. So this will be popped up on the outside like a frame and the window cut out. So I can put a bolder sentiment at the bottom. And in that case, maybe I would go with this one. But so far, I think I'm leaning towards the dynamic duo. I also grabbed a sentiment die set. This is the Scripty Sentiments. But I've got so much die cutting going on. I think having a bit of stamping will be a little refreshing. Although I do love a fully die cut card. And Daisy Crown Outline Stamp Set. This is also from a Build-A-Garden. Has this bold hello. But I think just like the other one, it's not really fitting. So I think our best bet is to go with this. So let me show you how that would look. We'll just kind of place it. That'll be perfect. Okay. And then I think for the glitter cardstock. I might choose one of the darker colors. See what goes well. Oh, this looks nice. Okay. Now imagine this behind the die cut window. Maybe like this, just for a little bit of sparkle. All right. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay. And again, you won't see any of this because there'll be the white frame. And then I'm kind of stuck on what embellishment, because the gem sparkles are beautiful, but I don't want to take away from this glitter unless I'm putting them towards the top and maybe it ties the glitter together. Otherwise, I do have the Bubblegum Dreams enamel dots, but I think I'm still upset that I couldn't find my matching enamel dots, which would be the cherry blossom. So I'm not going to use these, and I will find places to put the gem sparkles. So here it is, you guys. Here's my card. You just have to use your imagination for it. But this is utilizing the same color, which my chosen color is pink. And it's Hugh had me at hello. So I have my little hello sentiment. And yes, white and black are allowed. So my outer frame and probably also the card base will be white. Ooh, unless it's black and we emboss this. I don't know. You'll have to see next week how my card turns out. I'm not sure exactly which direction I'll go, but this will be the basic gist of it. So thank you to those of you who are adding your comments already that you are a fan of how this is looking. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Oh, and also I'll probably pop up the flowers. So there's some varying depths there. And you can't forget the envelope. You know, I'm going to have to put it in an envelope. So maybe the pink diamond, just to bring out the lighter pink of this flower, because it's like, again, a perfect match to the pink diamond cardstock. I think that will be good, because again, I'm worried if I use one of the darker ones, it's going to compete too much with the darkness that's going on right there. All right, so here is my card. We went on quite an adventure today. I've got inky fingers. Now my pink fingers match the rest of me. And let me pop up so I can do some final reminders and a nice goodbye so that I could send you guys all on your crafty way. Here we go. Again, my fingers match my look today with my pink. And again, I don't know why this was my least favorite color. It wasn't even like, I don't really like pink. No, I hated pink. Like if someone in my family got me a present and it was pink, I'd be like, thank you so much. And like inside going like, it's pink, it's pink. Like, don't they know I don't like pink? But you know, you got to be polite and thank someone for a gift. So yeah, I was just in my dark days back then. And now it's all pink, all glitter, all shine. I love it. So I've changed. So I want to just give a nice thank you to Angel, as always, for being an absolute wonderful behind the scenes support for me. And maybe one day we'll have to get you on a live. I don't know if that's possible. You're probably like, no, I feel safe behind the computer. But let me know if you ever want to make an appearance, because I think that'd be really fun if we had you not only behind the Altenew badge, but up in front of a camera. That would be really fun. So I would love to remind you guys to share within the next like 10 seconds if you want to have a chance to win that $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. And if you miss out on that chance, please play along. Hugh had me at hello, a hello project, doesn't have to be a card, featuring one color. Black and white are okay. Doesn't have to be a finished project, but you do need to share it using hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. That's the only way I'll find it. So you need to post it publicly if you have a private account. Unfortunately, I won't see that either. So find a way to publish it on social media with hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.